Let's be honest. When Lewis Hamilton crossed the line in Bahrain, most people expected the usual Ferrari struggles, another frustrating weekend, and maybe a polite interview with a forced smile. But what actually happened? Something way more surprising. Hamilton didn't just survive the race. He experienced a moment that could change everything. It wasn't loud or dramatic. There were no screaming headlines or viral clips, but beneath all that quiet progress was a shift, a feeling, a connection between man and machine that hadn't been there before. And Lewis? He was genuinely shocked. Not the wow, great effort from the team kind of shocked. The hold on, did we just unlock something? Kind of shocked. Ferrari, the team known for being just a little bit chaotic at times, finally gave Hamilton a car that didn't fight him every lap. It didn't snap mid-corner. It didn't slide around like it was trying to audition for ice dancing. It actually responded. And for the first time, Lewis looked around, blinked, and said something fans haven't heard in a while. Wait, this might actually work. No overhype, no sugarcoating, just a raw, honest reaction from a driver who's been through enough to know the difference between a lucky day and a real breakthrough. Now, let's clear something up. The Ferrari didn't suddenly grow wings or teleport across sectors. It's not a Red Bull in disguise, but it did stop behaving like a shopping cart with a wobbly wheel. And when you've been wrestling with setup issues, brake feel, and an entirely new driving philosophy, that small shift, it can feel like magic. That's what this moment was for Lewis. Not just a good race, but the beginning of something bigger, a quiet spark that might just light up the 2025 season. And that's exactly why you're here. This is Formula Fury, where we don't waste time chasing drama or hyping up nonsense. We focus on what really matters in Formula 1, progress, performance, and the moments that shape a season. No boring analysis, no sugar-coated takes, just the raw truth behind the race. So if you're tired of the same old recycled stories and you actually want to understand what's going on behind the scenes, make sure you stick with us. Because at Formula Fury, we're not just watching F1, we're feeling every twist and turn of it. Let's rewind to how all this started in Bahrain. On Saturday, things didn't look great. Hamilton qualified all the way down in P9, nearly 6/10 slower than his teammate Leclerc. That's a big gap, especially for a 7-time world champion, and Lewis didn't try to sugarcoat it either. He straight up said, "I'm not doing a good enough job." Now when a driver like Hamilton says that, it usually sends fans into panic mode and gives critics something to chew on. Social media lit up. People started shaking their heads, saying the same old line we've heard too many times. Here we go again, classic Ferrari story. But Sunday, that's when everything changed. From the moment the lights went out, Lewis looked sharper, more in control. He started picking off cars one by one and worked his way up to P5. Now sure, on paper, that might just seem like a solid recovery drive. Nothing crazy, but if you looked closer, it was much more than that. He didn't just drive faster, he connected with the car in a way we haven't seen since he first put on that red suit. It was like something finally clicked between him and the machine. Like they'd been arguing all season and suddenly agreed on what music to play. Yeah, it was like Hamilton and the Ferrari finally landed on the same Spotify playlist. And once they did, the rhythm just flowed. That feeling of finally being in tune with the car really came alive in the second stint of the race. That's where the magic happened. Everything before that moment felt like a battle. Like Hamilton was constantly trying to force the Ferrari to do what he wanted. But during that middle phase of the race, something shifted. In his own words, "I felt aligned with the car for the first time." And coming from someone as experienced as Lewis, that's not just a casual remark, that's a big deal. Up until then, he'd been struggling to get comfortable. The car felt unfamiliar, the setup didn't suit him, and every lap looked like hard work. But in Bahrain, it just clicked. Suddenly, his driving style wasn't fighting the Ferrari, it was flowing with it. And when that happens, especially with a driver like Hamilton, you know something serious is brewing. He even admitted he learned more in that one race than he had across the entire preseason. That's huge. It's like he finally cracked the code. Like he'd been trying to understand a new language, and suddenly everything made sense. Honestly, it was like he downloaded Duolingo overnight and became fluent in Ferrari. From the way he took corners to how he managed the tires, everything looked smoother, more natural. And for the first time since joining Ferrari, you could actually see confidence in every move he made. By 3 o'clock, things start to get really interesting as we see Hamilton making a significant technical shift. He's not just adjusting to new car parts, but rather he's completely changing his approach to driving. We're talking about new brake materials, a different engine braking strategy, and a whole new technique for entering corners. Things that are completely different different from what he's used to at Mercedes. Hamilton himself admitted, "I've been stuck in my ways," which is something we can all relate to when we've been doing something for years. But the challenge for him goes beyond just learning new skills. It's about unlearning habits that have been with him for over 15 years. To match Ferrari's identity, he has to let go of what he's known and embrace a new way of thinking and driving. And this is no easy task. It's not just about skill. It's about controlling your ego, being humble, and having the patience to accept that it's going to take time. Now, imagine having to switch from your beloved Android to an iPhone after 15 years. Seems tough, right? Now, imagine doing that while racing at 300 kilometers per hour with millions of people watching. That's the kind of shift Hamilton is going through. Now, this is where things really start to get exciting. What we're seeing with Hamilton isn't just about one race or one moment. It's about a bigger picture, a shift in direction. Hamilton himself said he's migrating toward Charles's setup, meaning he's looking at how Charles Leclerc has been setting up his car and slowly adjusting his own to match. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about copying Charles. It's more like collaborating. It's about learning from each other to find the best approach. And if Hamilton keeps adapting at this rate, we might be in for a huge surprise in 2025. It might not just be his final season story arc that we're talking about. It could turn into a full-on title fight. Imagine Ferrari actually pulling this off. They might have to switch their national anthem from Il Canto degli Italiani to Back in Black. Now that would be a rock star moment. So here's the final takeaway from all of this. Hamilton isn't just racing anymore. He's rebuilding. For the first time, driving a Ferrari, he's not just behind the wheel. He's actually feeling the car, understanding it on a deeper level. That second stint in Bahrain could very well be the turning point, not just for his season, but for his entire career at Ferrari. It's the moment where everything starts to click, and we might just see a new version of Hamilton, one that's even more in tune with his car than ever before. This could be the beginning of something big. If you felt that same shift in Bahrain, hit that like button. Do you think Hamilton is about to pull off the most epic late career run we've ever seen? Drop a comment below and let's hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to Formula Fury, because we're not here for fluff, we're here for fire.